Hi everyone. So this is the follow-up video for the test that we actually wanted to write in the last, or that I wanted to write in the last video already. So I just created a new issue here saying ensure customers can be edited in a form when selecting them in the list. And the description would go like, as a developer, I want to ensure customer entries can be edited by clicking the edit button in the customer list so that I can be sure to not introduce some bug in the screen interactions. So yeah, this is just a direct follow-up on the stuff that we did in the last video. Let's go into the source code here. I already created a branch, ensure customers can be edited. And yeah, so probably let's just create a second test case. And well, we can replace that name here a little bit. Given one customer exists when, yeah, probably like edit customer, then what we can say is that edit customer editor is shown or something. Yeah, perhaps we can improve that name a little bit later. So first of all, what we want, let's just take a look in what we want to check. So if we click this particular button here, this edit button, and before I actually select one entry in this table, then it should, just show us the particular editor or the particular form. So let's see how we can achieve that. So we have already our helper methods here, first loaded customer and so on. So this is already good, but probably we need a little bit more in order to, click this button and so on. So here we do not want to assert anything on the first customer, but what we can say is that we would like to have our first customer as a variable, and then let's just remove that for now. So the next thing that we need to do is that we need to have another component, and in particular here we don't need the table, but instead what we probably need is this edit button component. And this edit button has just the ID edit button, so we can just create this one here. Let's create a variable, call it edit button. Once again, we should change that to be the proper type in order to interact with that in a good way. We want to cast that here, and so probably what we can do is to create a method which is called just button, and potentially what we can do is to make this one here a parameter, button ID. So with this edit button now, what we can basically do is to leverage the interaction or the API, and there is a method called click which will actually perform this this button click, and then hopefully the screen will load. But the first thing that we have to do before that is that we actually need to select in the table the customer. This is something that we have not yet done. So what we probably this time need is this method here, which is called customer table. So let's just call that, and we give the customer browse in there, and just have a reference to this table, and then we say customer table set selected, and there we can say first customer. So this means that in the UI the table will actually now have this item selected, and now the button should be actually possible to be clicked. So if we just run this one, it should already do something, although we don't really know because we didn't do any kind of assertions. yeah, okay. So apparently it worked, but without checking it, actually, it's a little bit pointless. But I just wanted to make sure that we don't have any kind of exception or something like this. So how do we now, verify what has happened? So since we have the screens API, we can take a look at the API that this one offers, and there is a method called getOpenScreens, and this has another method called getActiveScreens. And getActiveScreens actually returns us a list of currently visible screens. So what we can, for example, do is to say that we would like to have this particular screen, and we could assert that this particular screen is instance of, and then we give, say, customer edit class. So this verification should, ensure that the current active screen, so first of all, that there is an active screen, and second of all, that this active screen is actually a customer edit. Okay, so this still works. Everything is fine. So this is indeed a customer edit class. By the way, if you want to, just for some reason debugging, or if you don't found out why the test is not working or something, you can just go with the regular debugging mechanisms here. And then we can, for example, take a look at the screens and, either, just try it out in line. Get open screens, get open screens, get active screens, for example. This is what we could return. And here you see there's one item in it of type customer entry. And what you can also see here is this particular class has an attribute entity to edit, which is actually a particular customer. And if we take a look, this is actually our foo customer. So this means this already gives us a hint on how to check on which entity is now loaded in this test, or in this editor here in the test. So this means that the next thing that we want to, or that we can do is, first, so the problem is if we now say screen, then we don't have this mechanism, get edited entity or something. This is not present. And the reason for that is that the screen, similar to the problem with the component here, as we have done here before, which return, like this method returns us a component, but we want to have a particular API of the component that we know it is going to be. And here we have a similar situation because the active screens only returns us something of type screens. So what we can now do, after we verified that it's actually a proper instance of type customer edit, we can say customer edit equals, and then customer edit, and then we just cast the screen to a customer edit. And now we customer edit. We have this method here, get edited entity, sorry. And this one we can, easily check and verify that this is actually the customer that we selected, or in particular here, it's not this customer, but actually it is the customer that we selected. So let's run that again and see if this also works. And with that, we already have, the proper interaction between the buttons and like the screens of what we want to do there. So this, for example, means if I comment out this one and run the test again, then the test should fail. So this is basically all the stuff that we want out of an automated test. Okay, so this is working. Now let's refactor our test slightly so that it will be easier to read, because here's a lot of stuff going on right now. So for example, besides the fact that we click this button, we actually don't need a variable for that. So let's just inline this one here. And the second thing then would be, what we could, for example, do is make this whole part here inside of a method, and just, take that as a parameter and then return the proper value. So let's see if we can pull this off. Let's call it get screen of type. And this screen will probably, so first of all, this is going to be a parameter. It will be T, let's call it T class, and this should be of type T, and then this should also return the type, corresponding type. And so this means we would want to, so first of all, we don't need this variable anymore, and we also can just do it like this. So with that, we have pulled this assertion into this particular helper method. So perhaps this is already enough, because now we say screen of type customer edit, and then we get back a proper custom edit. So let's see if this still works. And the second thing is probably here that we can optimize a little bit as well. Okay, so test are passing is to optimize the selection of the table. So what we probably can do is just have this method here and call it select customer in table. And with that, we should be actually already almost done. So this is actually our when part. So this clicking, this clicking of the button, is actually the invocation of what we want, and then we can check, just do our regular checks. So let's run it once again, and if this is all fine, then I think we are done with this particular test case, and also with the story. As you see, when interacting with this test, with this UI components, and also with the screens, there are a lot of helper methods already in place, and we only have it in one particular test class. So let's see how this evolves if we change that and have like more tests on more screens. Then potentially we could take this out of these this class here and instead put it into a dedicated component. But I will not do that for now. Just finishing up our story here. It's actually, we don't create a test, but ensure form is shown. Actually, you know what? Perhaps we actually make the test a little bit better. Instead of just checking on the entity, since we now already have the customer here, the customer entity here, what we can check if is the form is somehow correctly fulfilled or filled with the data from the customer entity. So this means it's actually already a test that goes a little bit more into the customer edit screen, and not so much about the interactions. Yeah, or perhaps let's do it like this. We will keep this test here exactly how it is, and then we create another video where we actually, just create a test case for this customer edit. And here we only check the interaction. Okay, creating a pull request, and with that we can take another look at our story, but I think we are done since we said we want to only check that the right screen is shown, and clicking the button and so on. All right, so let's fix this one here. Fix this number 20, and with that we are done with this video and also with the story. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.